Welcome to another Candid moment with Candace. Today I'm excited because we are in the presence of greatness. We have a bronze medalist who is a bocce champion from the Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia. From Canada, please help me welcome Lance Cryderman. Hi, Lance.
Hello, Candice. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Lance, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You did, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, good. So you just, you were out of town.
I was. Even though we're in the middle of this pandemic, we were actually competing at the America's Regional Championships for Team Canada in the sport of bocce down in São Paulo, Brazil. And we just got back yesterday afternoon. I'm still a little jet lagged, but starting to feel a little bit better, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you won a bronze medal.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. This event is a direct qualifier for the 2022 World Bocce Championships that are back in Brazil in December of 2022. And we basically needed to get on the podium as a team to be able to go to the World Championships next year. So it was an exciting bronze medal match. It actually ended in a tiebreaker, so it was pretty dramatic. It was an awesome experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many countries did you play against?
There were 7 teams from all across the Americas in the team event. I don't know if you know, but there's 2 basic divisions for bocce. There's an individual division where you play one-on-one in your classification, and then there is a BC1 and BC2 mixed team, which has males and females mixed together in a 3-person team. So that's the event where we actually medaled. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow. I see. I love where you're sitting. You have so many medals behind you. Oh my gosh. You are a champ. Tell me about these medals.
These medals actually go way back because I actually started playing bocce many years ago when I was like 12. So we're talking early 90s is when I started. And so the medals that you see back there, some of them are from back in those days, between 1993 and 2000, when I was first playing the game. And then in 2001, I actually decided that I needed to take a break from the sport and pursue my career and actually my academics. And I knew that I wasn't necessarily going to make a lot of money playing bocce, so I needed to find other ways to make a living. And so I went to school and completed an undergraduate degree, and then a master's degree in business, and then went on to work at the university itself, and I've been there ever since. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you have a degree in psychology?
Yes, an undergraduate in psychology as well as a master's in business.
The master's degree is in business. How cool is that? Tell me about your coaching. You're a success coach, empowering abilities for everyone.
So that was a venture that I started about 2 years ago now, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of not developed the way I would like it right now. I'm kind of shifting my focus to my sport at this moment and my day job at the university because I need to provide for the family. So the business side is kind of a side gig at this point. Uh, but eventually I would like it to be my full-time gig. I always have had a passion for helping others recognize that we all have abilities, regardless of whether we have disabilities or not. We all have a certain ability within ourselves to achieve anything. And I am the perfect example. My disability is pretty severe. Without this power chair I'm sitting in, I'm pretty well useless. So, but it's all about my mindset, because I could sit here and be negative and think about how awful it is that I can't walk or my voice is different. I could be focused on all these things, but instead I focus on what I can control. And the things that I can control are my thoughts. And when I control my thoughts, I can also control my emotions from that point. So that's kind of my approach to things. And when I do coach people, those are the kinds of things that I kind of try to instill and help them develop. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. You are a perfect example of that.
Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
The joys of my disability. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right. All right.
Wow, you definitely have a really good positive outlook on life. I love that.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Oftentimes, well, okay, most of my episodes I'm supposed to begin, and sometimes I forget until a few minutes into the interview. I like to begin with gratitude. So what are 3 things today that you're grateful for?
3 things I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's really easy for me to answer this question.
Okay.
The first is what I call my success army. Okay?
Okay.
And this success army is basically a group of individuals who have come into my life and played a part in helping me achieve the goals that I have set for myself. Okay, and I have several different types of people in this army: my cheerleaders, my challengers, and even the naysayers, the ones that kind of say, well, you're not going to be able to achieve these things because of XYZ. All of these people have played a role. So I really want to start by talking about the first 2 people that are really important to me, and I'm so grateful that they're in my life. Firstly, my parents, Daryl and Darlene. When I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at 10 months old, they could have listened to the professionals who told them that I was going to be a vegetable, that I was going to be unable to think for myself, unable to speak, unable to basically have any kind of meaningful existence. They did not listen to the prognosis, and they made a fundamental decision. Even though the experts had connected them with a parent group and they listened to these parents of other disabled children, my mother has told me this story several times now. She said that coming home one night from a parent group, she looked at my dad and said, "We're never going back there again." Because I'm tired of hearing the poor me story. I'm tired of hearing, "Oh, my child is disabled and my life is so difficult." So My parents made a fundamental decision to not allow my diagnosis to impact them in a negative way. They made the decision to raise me to be independent, to be strong, and they knew, they're not naive, they knew it was going to be challenging. But I'm grateful because they've made that decision. Without that fundamental decision, I wouldn't be who I am today. Another person that I'm absolutely grateful for having in my life is my incredible, absolutely amazing wife, Danielle, um, who basically is my number one cheerleader as an adult at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no, there are no words to describe how well my wife, how much my wife has given to me in terms of her support. Coming with me on these budget trips is not an easy task, and she is right there, loving every minute of it. And I'm absolutely grateful to have her in my life because, again, none of this would be possible without her. So, in terms of gratitude, I think people, the people who have helped me shape who I am today, that is what I'm most grateful for in my life. Does that answer the question?
You laugh because you know that you went above and beyond answering my question. Thank you so much, Lance.
You're
Not
welcome.
everybody knows how to answer that like with a formal speech, but you did, and it was beautiful and very eloquent. Wow. Oh, I can't top you, but it's not a competition. You have all the medals, so you win. Today, I'm grateful that I get to talk to my mom on the phone. I'm done all my Christmas shopping. We celebrated my nephew's birthday on the weekend. I love that boy so much. He's like a nephew, but he's also like a brother.
Right.
And he's 9 years old tomorrow, and he's just my family support. I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing independently in my office, living independently, running businesses, if it wasn't for the support of my family. So one thing that you may not know about me, Lance, is that I experienced a brain injury 20 years ago. So I have problems with memory and decision making, and I'm very impulsive. There was something I was thinking today that I made some mistakes today. It's nothing new. I should not be unsupervised sometimes. And
Okay.
truth bomb, but really I shouldn't. But yeah, I'm also grateful for the support of my community, my friends, my family. And I'm so grateful for this lady on my Facebook named Danielle Cryderman, who introduced me to you. I'm so grateful for the connection to your wife. We wouldn't be meeting today if it wasn't for her.
I know. She's an unbelievable woman. I can't tell you how absolutely lucky I am to have her in my life. You know, unbelievable. No words to really describe.
No, oh, I know I know what you mean though. It's amazing how gratitude can shift one's focus,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And I think you know what that means and where that comes from with the way you talk about life and the thought patterns and the way we speak to ourselves. Which, that's not an easy thing. It is easier said than done to tell people, be positive, happy Thursday. What are you grateful for? Well, no, it goes beyond that. It goes
You,
much beyond that.
you have to have an emotional connection It's really important to be connected to those emotions, and to allow yourself to actually really dig into those emotions. Actually, you can say words all you want, but when you can connect emotion to it, it really becomes that much more meaningful. So,
Oh my gosh, 100%. At the beginning of this, like 15 minutes ago or so, I had shivers when you were talking about the support of your parents, and I had the urge to cry, but I held it back. And I don't know why we're so afraid of our emotions. Sometimes I do cry on camera, and it's okay.
yeah, absolutely. Our emotions are really what make us human, right? So
Yes.
I think we need to embrace them, because they really do enrich our lives. And if we can learn to allow ourselves to experience them and recognize them for what they are, it can be really empowering in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of emotions, tell me about the emotions that were just going through you when you were at the games and you won your bronze medal with your team.
Let me tell you, it's actually quite an interesting story because, um, just to give people some background about bocce, I briefly spoke about this, but I want to explain it a little bit. Hopefully, it'll give me a little leeway, Candice.
Absolutely. I'm
Okay,
all ears.
all right. So, going into this event, uh, it was my third international event since my comeback in 2017, to the sport. It was my third event since I came back internationally. And one of the technical things that I had to be done was I had to go through my second and final classification to make sure that I was in the right class to be able to compete with people with similar function and ability, right? It's the classification system is put in place to make sure that people are able to be equal and able to compete against each other fairly. So here I was at my third international event, and I had to go through my second classification in 2 years. My first classification, since my comeback, did not go well. They tried to classify me into a higher classification. So going into this event, I was really nervous because I knew that if I was classed into that higher classification, that I was essentially going to be unable to compete, um, at that higher level, and I wouldn't necessarily be able to stay in the sport because I knew that I wouldn't be able to keep up with that higher class. So my initial emotion going into the event was extremely, uh, apprehensive. I was so nervous. I mean, I've never been that nervous at a bocce event in my life. So I went through classification, and the first time it was a really rough process. They weren't sure. They were going back and forth. So all I knew was that first experience was awful, and they had basically crushed me when they said, "Well, we think you're in this class." So going in, all I could think was, "They're going to ruin my career. This is it." So I go into the classification room in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and within 10 minutes, they say, "This is your classification. You're good to go." And it was a huge relief, meaning that I could keep my regular class. They weren't going to keep me in the higher class. I was able to compete, so I had this sense of relief. Then I go into individual competition, and I have a really strong initial game. Win the first game in the individual event, and then the second game played well but lost a close match. Still made it to the semifinals. And the semifinal, the wheels fell off. I lost to the number 2 guy in the world. It was a pretty dramatic score. Don't really want to relive it.
Okay.
So I went into a bronze medal match as an individual, and unfortunately, I had my worst technical or worst personal um, performance in an individual match in that bronze medal individual match. So up to this point, the event's been a roller coaster. My emotions have been up, down, all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Then we get to that. Let me just fast forward to that bronze medal match again. So all of this up and down is happening, right? So we get to the bronze medal match, and I said, I have to perform the best I can. This is really meaningful. I need to get this done. And I actually had the best performance of the whole event, according to the coaches and their tracking system. I was throwing at a 74% accuracy rating in that game, which is extremely high. Most people in my classification will run at about 60%. So I had a really good match and was able to contribute to that bronze medal win. And in the end, when we won the tiebreaker, it was absolute euphoria. We were so ecstatic because we knew right then and there we had done what we had set out to do and we had made that qualification. It was nerve wracking though because we actually had to watch Mexico throw 4 balls before we could actually confirm the win. So it was, the emotions were definitely all over the map.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know much about the game. So the article I was reading earlier said that it was similar. Boccia is similar. I think I played it before. It's similar to lawn bowling or
And
curling,
or curling, yes.
indoor
So
curling.
here's the basics of it, okay? There are 2 sides, okay, whether we're talking individual, whether we're talking pairs, or whether we're talking teams. There's 2 sides every match, and each side has 6 balls. In the team event, the 6 balls are divided between the 3 players. So technically, every round, which we call an end, like curling, each player throws 2 balls in the team event. The objective is to get your colored ball, whether you're red or blue, closer to the white target ball than your opponent. Okay? So if you have, at the end of the end, when all the colored balls are thrown, the 6 red and the 6 blue, if you have 2 blues closer to the white ball, which is called the jack, then you have 2 points for the blue team or the blue player, whichever division you're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think I've played it before, like on the grass.
Yeah, a lot of people play backyard bocce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Is it bocce or boccia?
so everybody in everyday speech in Canada likely knows the game is bocce.
Bocce.
But our game, because it's a modified Paralympic sport, I think they wanted to make a distinction. So it's actually pronounced boccia, but it's basically the same game as bocce. It's just modified for people
Okay.
with disabilities. We don't play with heavier, like the Italians would play bocce on a sand court with really heavy, often metal balls, right? And the objective is to get your ball closer to that white ball, which they don't call a jack. I don't even know what they call it.
Okay.
And they're much heavier. Our balls are actually more like bean bags. They're leather covered and they're
Okay.
not heavy at all. Because the beauty of this sport when it was developed was actually developed for people with very severe mobility impairments like cerebral palsy. In fact, it was originally designed for people with cerebral palsy only. And only about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, maybe a little longer, they started to open it up to other neuromuscular conditions like muscular dystrophy, spinal cord injury, and those individuals who are not of a cerebral palsy diagnosis actually play in a different division, but
Okay.
they play the game as well as us.
So you say neuromuscular, so is that controlled all in the spinal cord?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of us have impacts in our mobility related to any kind of neuromuscular condition. The ones that I mentioned, like muscular dystrophy and cerebral palsy, and also anybody with spinal cord injury you might see playing bocce as well.
Oh, wow.
If you cannot throw a ball with your hand, or but you have the ability to kick the ball, you can also play this game. So the people who are able to kick the ball play in the same classification as myself. And if you don't have the ability at all to propel the ball yourself, you can be put into a specific classification for with the use of an assistive device like a ramp or a chute. So that, you know, those, if you've ever seen anybody in a wheelchair at the bowling alley using a ramp.
Yeah.
So it's a similar type of system where these people are able to play the game using a ramp device, and they have an able-bodied assistant on court with them who they direct and basically are able to play with the support person's assistant. The support person does not face the field of play, so that they can't be influenced by what's going on. They are only there to position the ramp based on the direction provided by the athlete. So the athlete themselves has to be able to direct their attendance themselves, and that person cannot make any decisions for them. So it's just a way to make it more accessible for those with really severe mobility challenges. It's a wonderful game.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, and it seems very inclusive as well.
It's one of the most inclusive sports in the Paralympic movement.
Wow. So you just flew back, like COVID and everything. You said you were in Brazil.
Yes.
How come on the post on Facebook it said Sydney, Australia? Was that the one in 2000?
Yes.
Okay. I see.
So we flew to Sao Paulo. The event was very well conducted. They were very, very cautious. Everybody who competed was double vaxxed, and we were all wearing N95s when we weren't playing. So it was an extremely well-run event, and they did everything they could to keep it safe for everybody. We all actually had to get tested multiple times, not only to get into Brazil, but then during the event as well, we were tested. All participants, referees, all officials, everybody, athletes, and we were shocked when we found out that the 170 participants, so that's everybody in the whole event, there was no positive cases.
That's amazing.
So
wow.
It was unbelievable. We were so lucky. It was a great event, and they did a wonderful job keeping us all safe.
That is such great news. It sounds like some really good leadership and into planning this event.
It was really well done. Plus, we heard that the vaccination rate in the city of Sao Paulo was quite high. It's like 95%. So they're really taking this seriously,
Oh, good.
and it was well done.
Good stuff. So tell me about your trip. Like, do you have a tan?
So honestly, the whole trip was pretty much focused on the competition itself,
Okay,
and
so you just,
that was also COVID related. We didn't want to venture out. We didn't want to create any possible chance that we might come in contact with someone. So we kind of stuck to our area. Plus, we were told by organizers that it would be in our best interest to stay on the grounds as much as possible anyway. So that's basically what we did. But it's a beautiful facility. There's many walking trails within the venue. The area that we were at, my wife and I were able to, go outside, enjoy the weather. It was 30 plus degrees over there.
oh my
We were
gosh. Oh,
enjoying
did
every
you?
second of that sun and sitting out in our balcony. If you check out our Facebook in the next couple of days,
Yeah.
we'll actually have a video of our walk or our roll from
Yeah.
our residence where we were staying to the venue where we played, so that people can see the beautiful grounds that we were staying in, and it was just
Cool.
unbelievable.
When I watch that, I'll share it for you so everybody can
Absolutely,
see.
absolutely.
Well, everybody on my side, anyways, in my little community.
Yeah.
What did tell me about why you took a degree in psychology?
So, to be honest with you, my answers are never straightforward.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. So the truth is, when I finished high school, I was like many young men, young people. I really didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, and actually, because I was so focused on the sport at that time, high school was kind of, I hate to say it, but high school was like not that important to me. So education,
Yeah, I
I
feel
was
ya.
like, no, I'm going to Sydney. So I made some decisions in high school to kind of prioritize bocce so that I could make it to the Paralympics in Sydney in 2000. But what that meant was I had to end up uh, taking a year of college level courses because I did not complete. I'm aging myself, Candice. Okay, I did not complete my OAC in high school back
Oh
when we
yeah,
had
right.
OAC.
Okay, that's like a year younger than me because I was the first one not to have OAC. So no,
There you
it
go.
doesn't age you that much. Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, I wasn't able to go directly to university, but I didn't really care because I was focused, as I said, on bocce. So when I went to college after the Paralympics, I went into the business program and I started taking courses. I understood it, but I wasn't loving it. And one day said, you know what? I need to switch gears. I really want to learn what makes people tick. I want to learn how people think, how people react to the world around them. I want to look at that. So I took an introductory psychology course at the college. I was all over the map. I went from business to psychology.
Yeah.
And then, so I took that one course and I went, holy crow, this is going to unlock it for me. This is what's going to help me gain the tools to be able to help others achieve their goals. And that really is what started. So then I made the decision after a year of college to apply as a transfer to the university, got in. And because of my unique circumstances and the fact that I have cerebral palsy, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to take a full course load
Mhm.
at the university level because everything takes longer, right?
Yeah.
So instead of taking 4 years to do an undergraduate honors degree, I took 6 years, but I loved every minute of it.
That's
In
awesome.
fact,
That's not even much longer.
no, it was 2 years longer.
Yeah.
It felt much longer, but it was 2 years. And then I had every intention of going into a master's program in psychology. And then I hit a pivotal moment in my life where I had done everything right. I had the grades, I had finished an honors thesis with an 86, and I thought for sure that I was a shoe in for a master's in psychology, only to find out that I didn't make the cut. I was not granted admission into the master's of psychology at Laurentian.
Oh, wow.
Even though I loved research, I loved doing uh, all of that stuff. I'm actually a statistics nerd. My first job at the university was actually a statistics tutor. So
Okay,
I
cool.
love I love the whole academic research end of things. So I was absolutely flabbergasted when I was not granted admission. And I had a pivotal discussion with a faculty member after that happened. And he said, Lance, what is it that you really want to do with your life? What is it that you want? And I said, well, I really want to affect change, positive change for people with disabilities. I really want to help people with disabilities make a difference in our community. Because I know that we all have the ability to contribute something. And I want to be a leader. I want to be the guy. And then he stopped me mid sentence and he said, so you want to be the guy with the big stick? And I said, yes. And he says, have you ever considered a master's in business administration? And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no. Like I did that in college. I understood it, but no, I wasn't thinking that. He said, but that will give you the tools to be the leader, to be the guy who can make the decisions and have the ability to be in the leadership role. And that's what changed my direction. So I went from that moment of, holy shit, I'm not able to continue on this path. Okay, let's switch direction and take a whole new path. And then here we are. It took me another 4 years, but I completed my master's in business after that. And the last 2 years of that, I was actually working full time as an advisor at the university and completing my studies at the same time. I completed that in 2013, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's amazing. So I don't know what's going on with the university. I know they're struggling financially, but there are still students there, from my understanding.
Yes, yes, and the one thing I will say is that there are always going to be students with disabilities who require some support.
Yeah.
So our department has not really had to deal with a lot of cutbacks because I think we're already uh, pretty bare bones, and the university recognizes that. Um, so we've
Okay.
been fortunate enough that we've been able to continue to support students, and I'm hopeful that that will continue. Um, and I'm glad to see that we're now seeing the government step in and provide some support.
Good. They need to.
Yeah.
The students need to. I remember being a student at Cambridge College in the Glen Crombie Center, and they provided so many great services that I took advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
I utilized those, like especially for taking my exams in there for longer
Yeah.
time, and the tests with like big font so I could see. It was they're really good to their students.
Yes. So
Mhm.
much as the accessibility or disability advisors at Cambridge I perform much the same function for students at Laurentian as well.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
So you do that now?
Yes,
That's amazing. Did you, and it sounds like you love it.
I do. It's certainly challenging. It's becoming more and more challenging as the environment changes. It's definitely becoming more challenging. So that's kind of why I started my coaching side business, because I do recognize that at some point I do want to make some sort of transition so that I can take some control back. Because one of the things that I've recognized is that working at the university, a lot of the time, because the demand for our services is getting higher and there's not an equal increase in the resources, there's far less time to spend with the students to really provide them with the kind of support that I want to provide them with. So part of my thinking of starting this coaching and things like that was to try and have a little bit more control and eventually be able to support people on my own terms and not to necessarily settle, because to be honest with you, it's becoming harder and harder to support people the way I know I can in that environment. So at this point, I'm committed to supporting students at Laurentian, but I definitely see some future shifts in my path.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think that's the only way we can evolve, right? If we get uncomfortable, no, sorry, if we get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and we have to make some sort of change or shift in our path, our career, or personal development for that matter, in order for us to learn and grow.
That's right, and challenge yourselves.
Yes.
You know, it's all about part of the reason why I went back to bocce was because I wanted to feel that challenge. I wanted to prove to myself, 17 years later, that I could still compete at a high level, and I did that within 2 years, making the national squad. So, and I have aspirations of returning to the Paralympic Games in 2024, because I want my children and my family and those around me to see that if I can do all of these things, anything is possible. And quit making your excuses as to why you didn't do X, Y, Z, because I'm living proof that if you have the right mindset, if you have the right support system, and you have the right uh, emotional connection to what you're doing, anything is truly possible, honest to goodness.
Wow, coming from the mouth of a winner. I love it. That is so great. Wow. Do you have children?
Yes. So Danielle and I, we have 4 children between us. Both of us had children in previous relationships. So I have 2 children of my own, and she has 2 children from her previous marriage. So between the 2 of us, we have 4 kids.
Wow. And
Yeah.
they must look up to you. What a great role model.
And I really and truly, they may not recognize it at this point, but all of this, what I'm doing right now, whether it be with my career, whether it be with Batya, I'm really trying to just show them the possibilities and show them that, even though I have all of these so-called limitations because of cerebral palsy, if I can achieve all of these things, what do you think you can achieve if you put your mind to it? Right? I really want them to see the possibilities.
Wow. More people need to hear you. I am going to promote the heck out of this show. This is one of my favorite episodes. I think it might be my favorite episode. Wow, you are such a champion. You are affecting change, Lance. That's what you wanted to do back in
Yes,
the day? But
Yes.
I think that that is what you're doing because your focus is affecting change.
Yes.
You think so, right?
That it's been my driver for a long time. Let's push the status quo and let's make sure that people recognize. People often say, those naysayers had said to me, "Well, you can't take care of a baby. Why would you have kids? Why would you have children? You have all these physical limitations." And I said, maybe I can't change a diaper, and maybe I will, carry my child a little bit differently than an able-bodied parent, but my child will adapt. And at the end of the day, changing diapers is such a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and parenting is far more than just changing diapers. It's about providing the child with the opportunity to grow, to develop, and who better to show them how to see others with compassion and understanding than somebody who has been through a lot of challenges. So I really think that I'm uniquely qualified to parent, and I don't think anybody who has that limited definition of what parenting is in those first, you know, couple of years of life, all of those things can be addressed with physical support. I had um, personal support workers who were actually paid to help me with the physical aspects of parenting when my children were, young infants and toddlers. So I was still able to be a parent, but I just had to do things a little bit differently, which is not like unlike any other part of my life. Everything is different, so it is what it is, and we just grow and roll with it. So
Wow, you are an unstoppable force, Lance.
thank you.
Mhm.
I guess
Absolutely,
I
you
don't
are. And
know.
I know you know this.
This is, I don't understand why it's such a revolutionary thought. To me, it's just natural to have this kind of mindset. But I guess again, we come back to if I didn't have the parents that I have, would I have developed that mindset? I don't think so. So you want to give somebody credit. I think my mother has often been quoted as saying, "I've created a monster." Back in the day, it was all her, my dad as well, but mostly her, who just kept saying, "If you want to do these things, you're gonna have to be creative, but you'll find a way." And so, without her, I don't think I would be where I am for sure.
Wow. Oh, God bless parents. Here, here.
Yeah.
Parents are so great. I had some failed relationships and I had to move back home a few times, like four or five times in my 30s. And without even a second thought, my parents rented a U-Haul, came to get me, moved me, no questions asked. I love you. You're my baby girl. You're going to move back home. And without question,
Hmm.
parents are so amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so, oh, it makes me so like my heart is so full of gratitude, especially meeting a champion like you. Can I ask you what oops, what's the number of medals behind you?
Oh my goodness, so many people have asked me this question, and I have yet to count them. So I honestly don't even know what to hazard a guess at this point. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what. I will endeavor to get some help, maybe from the kids, and count these up because honestly I'm not sure. Now I do want to point out that because Danielle is actually an on-court assistant, She also, at certain events, is recognized as an on-court assistant. So some of these medals behind me actually belong to her as well. So I just want to point
Oh,
out,
that's amazing.
yes. So you'll see that there's like the ones with the black ribbon that are at the end there just before the new one from
Yeah.
Brazil.
It's
Anyway,
it's green and yellow.
yes, the new one is right on the end there.
Oh, you should be wearing it. Oh, that's so amazing. Oh,
The black ribbon ones that are right beside it, there's like 4 of them, I believe, because Danielle received a medal along with me. So we received a bronze medal for the team play for Team Ontario at the National Championships. So I had a medal and Danielle got a medal. And then I won silver in the individual event. So Danielle also received the silver. So that's why you see there's 4 medals there, because 2 of them are hers and 2 of them are mine.
so this is in a bocce tournament.
Yes.
Okay, so
So
she
there's,
got, sorry,
go ahead, sorry.
she Danielle received medals for assisting in the sport.
Yes. Because I require assistance on the court
Okay.
because of my class. I'm not a ramp player. I do throw the ball, but because of my classification, Danielle, I play in a manual wheelchair. If you go on YouTube, actually, there's at the event we were just at, you can see the bronze medal game that we played and we won. And I actually play in a manual chair. But because I don't have the ability to move a manual chair without assistance, I need an on-court helper
Okay.
who I again direct to position the chair. This chair that I'm sitting in is a power chair right now, and it's far too large to fit in the player's box. So I actually had to make an adjustment recently and change my playing chair to this manual chair, and now I really have to have somebody like Danielle on court to not only hand me my ball when I'm ready to play, but also to help me position the chair.
Okay, well, what better person to have with you in the game than your wife, right?
Absolutely. I'm surprised that she hasn't threatened to divorce me yet. Because I get kind of intense on the court, but she's wonderful and she rolls with it and doesn't let anything bother her. So I couldn't be, I have no words to describe how awesome she is.
That is so amazing. I am so happy for you guys. And if I didn't say it today, congratulations on your win, Lance. That is, you have made Canada so proud.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a roller coaster of an event, but at the end we pulled it out, and I'm so happy. I really do think that the group of athletes, I just want to point out that the other 2 athletes I was with on this team are unbelievable. And actually, the young man from Quebec, we're 3 athletes and we're all from different parts of the country. So I'm from Ontario, Northern Ontario. My one teammate is from Quebec, Montreal area, and the other teammate is all the way in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh, wow, all spread out over the country.
So we're all spread out, and we were thrown together with very little practice together before this event. And we came together very quickly, and both my teammates, Danik and Kristen, are unbelievable. And Danik from Quebec is actually the one that made the winning shot in the tiebreaker to seal the deal for us. And he is one hell of a player, and I can't thank him enough. He was key to that win, and we were an unstoppable force together. So
wow.
I just wanted to recognize those 2 as well.
Thank you for that. That is wonderful. Did you guys make life friends out of these teammates?
Absolutely.
Yeah, friends for
In
life.
in the bocce world, we're all friends, and I have friends that I made back in the '90s, and I'm still talking to them on a regular basis
Oh,
to
good.
this day. So the bocce world is a wonderful world full of people who have similar mindsets, who are willing to push themselves. It's no surprise that we're connected because we have similar approaches to life, and we all love the sport. So
Wow. I have had such a wonderful time talking with you, Lance. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you for spending time with me tonight and sharing your incredible story. Like, you blew my mind today. I hope you know that.
sorry if I went a little long on you. I have a tendency to do that sometimes.
No, I love it. You gave me content. Thank you.
Awesome.
Let's make a point to keep in touch.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, thanks for having a candid moment with me today. Lance Cryderman, everybody. Thanks, Lance.
Thank you.